Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are in the MMO Sleep Podcast section of the channel. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you've joined. We talk about some interesting things. So the journey has been interesting so far. Let's make it even more interesting with more topics, more cosplays, more just more. Just more. Today we're doing more grinding. I'm trying to find out all the areas that are Metal Slime accessible for you guys. So over here I did a little testing. And this is technically a version 3 area, but because the Nadraga Temple and of course the Belly of the Beast are both accessible through the Metal Maze mission, I thought I'd give a shot to this place, but not quite. So we will head back over to Stoltia to actually do the Metal Slimes. And then I think we'll go to maybe a few different areas, maybe like one or two different areas over in the regular Astoltia. But yeah, usually for these episodes, I just try to do either the metal slimes, or I think sometimes I'm gonna do maybe Renaissance or some other weeklies, just so we can get those out, get those recorded, so I can yap about some random things here. And today, I decided to call our episode a little bit of distracted discipline, calling them double D's, right? Because of the nature of what I'm doing here with this channel, okay? So, guys, if there's one thing about life that I've realized, if there's one thing about life that is all too apparent, is that it's all bullshit, okay? And if you're not having fun swimming through, waving through the shit bullshit with your hands, and sometimes you gotta like wipe your face a little bit, lick your fingers. If you're not having fun doing that, which we all have to do, nobody is exempt from this activity, then change your discipline. And that's all I have to say about that. That's the main gist of it. But I want to delve a little bit into, why I feel like there's a certain balance that nobody really is able to achieve nowadays, just because of the distractions and the shame that goes on in our community and our culture, as far as the act of discipline, right? So let's get into that. Like, what is discipline? Well, discipline, I think, in general, it's a choice. It's a choice of daily action, and it's sort of like a muscle you can grow. Some people have higher levels of discipline in certain areas, but we all have a certain level of just discipline in general, okay? You know? It's just a matter of where you direct that energy. We all have to recognize that. And all in all, it's just more of a mental clarity device for your body to detect where you're going. That's about it. That's the main gist of our best buddy, Mr. D, supplying. And when you think about it this way, that it's sort of just an activity to tell us where we're going, and discipline is the active ingredient that lets you know whether you're loving yourself or giving yourself gratitude. And so, I'd say in general, with discipline, if you are already aware that you are loving yourself, let's see, the dark side of it is that a lot of us get distracted in those levels, and then we'll just rest in the fact that we've sort of done enough, and that is what I'm getting at, to where that's how it's supposed to be. But underlining that, there's some shame that we all have to be productive and using and vitalizing at the same time, right? And this is why back at the beginning I said, man, we're all why wading through shit, okay? This environment is shit, these people are shit, these things are shit, right? So when I say things like discipline, when I make a title like distracted discipline, I'm telling you guys, make your discipline something that makes you happy through the bullshit, okay? That has to be your main discipline right there, okay? Like the bullshit has to be it. There can't be another route for you to go. And I think it's so unfair that there's absolutely no outlet for the average guy. I don't consider myself an average person, of course not, but I feel like maybe perhaps not even the people who watch this channel, but people who watch YouTube in general consider themselves to be average people. And I don't think it's right that there's no place for you. I've always thought that. It shouldn't just be me who feels the need to thrive and exist in this plane, I think, you know? And so I'm doing things like this that aren't, you know, it just doesn't seem too far out of the scope of imagination for people, but I'm just going hard at it. I'm getting obsessed with it because I feel like people need to learn and truly see that there is a lot more, and I mean a lot more, to be fulfilled by than, you know, the average things that are commonly thrown at us. And I've discovered the whole, I don't know, it's not really a secret, I guess, but I've discovered the whole social media, what do you call it, digital marketing secrets or whatever, and it's all bullshit. It's all basically just tricking people into liking, you know, what is already good, which is basically just you. And the main thing you need to know to grow anywhere is just to be consistent. Show up every day, and people will see you. But and I already knew that. And the more I do that, the more I realize that being truly seen is, you know, at least for me, who has an internal world that's already far too full to be, you know, condensed into a single tweet or video or even movie. It's not really the eternal gift that we are all looking for. You know, maybe some people are, but I don't know. Guys, I don't mean to brag, but a lot of people do see me. A lot of people witness me, notice me, can't help but look at me. And it doesn't usually make me feel super comforting or nice. But see, that's the thing, man. The grass is always greener. It really is. It really is. Just because everybody sees you doesn't mean everybody understands you, doesn't mean everybody wants to help you, doesn't mean everybody, you know, even actively likes you. And you gotta realize that this is why a lot of one-hit wonders and people with fame often have the crazy crash outs. It's because they just generally weren't ready to be wholly misunderstood, and so they just try to keep helping people understand more. And it never really helps out the right way, you know, it never really goes the pure, correct essence of how it's supposed to go. It's just a fact of life, man. A lot of things we do are predicated on the thoughts and opinions of others, just in general, you know, it's a society thing. And for this channel, I really have to keep in mind that you guys have made your decision. You know, you're here riding along with the Koopa, and my decision early on, which is why I've been able to keep this up so well, was to make this for myself, for the younger of myself, and able to understand, because I am a recovering people pleaser. You know, I would try to make people understand me for the longest time. And that is basically the entirety of the distraction, right? I know some people maybe, possibly don't like what I do here. I know that. You know, I don't have the perfect channel that everybody's just going to be like, this is the best thing ever, and I love everything you do and all the things that you make and collab with or whatever, you know? It's just going to happen. But I think the main distractions along the line, you have to turn into your power. You know? So that is why I still do the cosplays. Like right now, I think this is a new one right here as well. I don't know if I've uploaded one of... No, I did a stream with her. So it's Late Primrose, and then of course we have a classic Hackerling here as well. Owning up the Deathmaster, scything it up. But what we must remember is that the distractions, you know, although, like, this is sort of going to be a half meandering rant here, because it's so frustrating, this crazy hustle work culture that has been implemented onto us, you know, without our consent. It's pretty bad. It's pretty disgusting. But at the same time, I understand, you know, I understand why the system is not broken, guys, okay? It's not broken. It's not failing. It's not crumbling. It's made to suck us dry and drain our balls and keep us compliant, you know, not fighting against what is obviously not there to work in our favor. And that's just the facts of reality, the facts of life. You can get mad at it. You can, you know, get frustrated at it. I don't think there's too much of a point to that. But I do think that in order for the human race to truly be saved, we have to start looking out for our average guy. Like there's just no way you're going to somehow make it so that most men are exceptional like me. I just know that's not possible. I just realized within my soul that there's no way that would be possible, right? And so I'm not looking to have all these guys just expire or be like leftover men or whatever the fuck. But at least the way the dating pool seems, it's just that's what really frustrates me about how much I'm seen, because like I don't really work with like stupid shit like SEO and stuff like that. Like I said, I've discovered the ways of the internet and I know how to grow, but I decided who cares about growing? What if I make like a story? What if I make basically a cinematic universe, a movie, just with all the things that I watch, make sort of like a curated content pamphlet for somebody to discover themselves through the internet. I'm basically a giant ad here. You listen to this music, watch this VTuber, play this game. And a lot of people really push back against things like AI or ads or propaganda, but everything we do is centered around these main things. Like guys, we've had AI since Smash Bros. Melee, okay? I hated those level 9s. Fuck those level 9s, okay? But they've always been helping us, okay? The clankers have always been with us. And it's the same with ads, a lot of things we would have never had the pleasure of enjoying if we hadn't been, operantly conditioned to like it through maybe like Nickelodeon or some kind of TV ad or something like that. See, the thing is, we used to have other distractions from that. We used to not have to delve so far into the internet and never leave it, okay? And that's why it kind of freaks me out that on top of that, all of our attention is being like just drained and centered towards this one spot or these one certain groups of people. And so, yeah, I honestly think there's going to be a little bit of a civil war between, those who are seen and those who are not, the ones with no home and the ones who have taken everything. And right now I feel like I'm on the cusp of that, I'm holding back the line because as much as I have been seen, I'm not trying to be up there with the greats. I'm not trying to, get so lost in myself that I become a Pokemon and I want to be poor, but I can't stop consumer gooning, And that's what slowly happens to you when you get too disciplined. You become unhuman. You become a caricature of yourself. So there is a balance, but a lot of people don't realize how much they're fucking themselves over by going halfway. And this is the average guy's conundrum, okay? If you're average, it's obvious that you're going to go halfway. Like, don't be mad at yourself, but realize what you're doing, okay? If you want to be like me, you have to be crazy. You have to be obsessed, and you have to basically give up everything else, which is why, I didn't want to give up everything, so I kept the VTubers. I kept the video games. I kept what really mattered to me. So you have to figure out what really matters to you and also figure out your why and just hold on to those two things. And then hopefully they're congruent. Hopefully you can combine them together and make them both push you forward, but it's okay if it doesn't, man. It's okay if like that one thing that you really like is just, I don't know, drinking or smoking weed or doing drugs or partying or hanging out or whatever. But you can't drown in that, okay? That's gotta be your reward. That's gotta be your end of the day thing. That can't be a regular thing. And then eventually you'll realize, like me with gooning, it's just something that I don't really need to do anymore. It's something that's really a side activity, and it's mostly stress relieving. And now that I have this podcast, it's a lot better of a stress reliever, in my opinion. It gets me to sleep at night. It helps me get all the pain out, and also it helps me be disciplined. Like doing one of these every day, it feels good. It feels like I am. I'm obviously distracted because I have streamers on all the time while I do this. Right now, I'll give you guys a little plug. I'm listening to Lady Luck. Well, not listening, she's doing art right now. So I'm watching some Lady Luck art. Sometimes she streams very, very early in the morning, my time zone, over here in EST. And then sometimes in the afternoon, or around like maybe like 2 or 3 p.m. or so. But yeah, watching that. I also have, because I have my phone and my TV, I'm also watching a live stream, good old Dragon Quest VIII speedrun. And I love long RPG speedruns because it's something that I can just put on the TV for the entire day. You know, maybe unmute and mute it sometimes every now and then to see where they're at. But it's mostly because I'm very lonely, okay? And I realize, you should realize this too, that just ignoring that and being like, oh, I don't care, I have to be disciplined. Who cares if you're lonely, blah, 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 whatever, fuck it, go in. I'm probably gonna just cave and kill myself. Yeah, no sugarcoating it, no YouTube shit. I don't care about SEO or whatever the fuck. YouTube can delete my video, I give no shits. Okay, there's no in Minecraft here, all right? And perhaps in the future, if I ever decide to monetize this channel, which I'll tell you right now, that's not the direction we're going in, but if it is, it is. I don't really care. You guys know me, I don't hold on to too many promises at this point in my life. But if it ever comes to it, I'll just change. But I don't call that distraction. I call that direction, okay? So that's what we need to really hone in on, Who cares about discipline, really? Because we're all disciplined. You shouldn't work on trying to gain more discipline. That's not how this works, man. Matter, energy, love, hate, neither created nor destroyed, okay? So don't try to be more disciplined. Just direct your current discipline. And oftentimes people don't realize how congruent their grinds are with their vices. Oftentimes, man, I swear, they're almost the same thing sometimes, especially when you find what you are truly passionate in, It's like me, I'm passionate about gooning. I turn on a stream and I goon, so why not turn, what the streamers that I look like, put them in the game. You know what I'm saying? And then it suddenly is like, why would I goon when I can just play the game, When I can just understand and then slowly but surely, I'm able to communicate through, sort of just playing around. And I think that's the best way to really grow, because especially when you're an artist or any kind of creator, which I think we all are on some certain level. I'll probably get into that on a different episode, but if you are any kind of artist or creator, that is where it all starts, okay? You cannot make anything good without the play. Also, that's a good skirt. Dazzle Guard is not bad, but it's very weak. You have to play first. You have to. So if you're an artist, if you are a visual artist, definitely starting out, 2 sketchbooks. One for absolute garbage, trash, bullshit that you warm up on, and then one that you want to keep, for later, because I feel like just us as artists, there's something about like the act of having a presentable story that stops us from just doing it. From just going at it with all we have right now, which is basically all you need to do. Nobody wants to make the shit though, but we all do. I've made a bunch of, I still make shit, guys. Honestly, I'm still not completely satisfied with the pinnacle of my art or anything. That's not even close to the case, man. And I realize like the best thing that I make is always gonna be the next thing I make for about 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna start hating it, and then I'll have to make something else. It's just the way of an artist, right? And of course, it doesn't always have to be like this for everyone, but I think it just as a creator in general, just be okay with playing with anything. Don't carve yourself off into a certain spot and it's like I have to be disciplined to draw a face every day. Like, but who cares, man? You have to be disciplined to pick up a pencil every day. Okay? And make it super small. Not even pick up. You have to be disciplined to set up your art station every day, to clean your room every day. Even you have to be disciplined to get out of bed and put on different clothes every day. Like whatever the fuck. Because I know some of us are so lost. Because once again, the world is stupidly easy. We're living on maximum gooner, stupid, easy mode right now. Okay? Everything has 0 challenge to it. We all have food and shelter. Every single one of us. And you have this stupid fucking device for all your distractions. Great, right? We got it all. Endless entertainment. Food, shelter, that's it. That's really all you need. And so when you think about this, it's just like, how could you not be radical? How could you not be radical and radical? Radical. Oh my lord. But I'm saying, like, the gratitude should automatically come from that. you can just think there's no way that I can let this opportunity and this timeline go to waste. And me personally, I've talked about this a lot on the channel, but I really like failing. I really like when I suck. I really like when everything is bad for me. But the thing I've realized now is that I'm not the only one losing. And that's when it really hit me. It's like I have to try. Not for me anymore. Not for me anymore. I have to actually hone in on this stupid leadership style, whatever the fuck that I've had my entire life. And I have to show people that it's possible. It's possible without tricking people. It's possible without, you know, doing all these crazy things to be the most efficient guy in the world or what. I don't like, you guys may think I just sit at this computer and make videos all day and he has to go crazy hard to get it all. No, man. Usually, like I just explained before, I have about 3 or 4 streams going on my PC. You know, I may listen to music, you know, I may chill out, I may do as the aforementioned gooning, but honestly, most times everything's muted and I'm just sitting down, you know, just looking at stuff, just thinking about stuff, you know. It's not really hard work. I just allow myself to wait until the work needs to be done, you know, and I don't do much else. I really don't. That's by choice mostly, because what I used to do, my old activities, were hanging out with people a lot of hanging out with people, and it's kind of crazy to think that, because I never asked. You know, I'm not the person to invite people out places. I'm not the person to give someone a phone call. It was mostly people reaching out to me, and I, of course, I didn't reject them, but you know, all it takes, man, maybe like 1 small year of just saying no, a lot of the people stop reaching out eventually. So it is a little somber to think about it that way, but I'm still not mad, you know? It's just a realization, and a lot of the times, these dark realizations that I come to in life, they hurt, but at the same time, I'm thankful for them. You know, it's just like a cancer diagnosis, or you know, you found out you got autism, and you know, people are all like, "Oh no, I got autism." I'm like, "Oh, good, at least you know now." And that's me, man. That's why I like failure so much. Failure gives you so much more information than a win. So much more. You know, you win sometimes, you don't even know why you won. That's what happened to me a lot when I got laid. I was like, how did that happen? I don't know. What the fuck? You know? If you guys have ever gotten a gift sub on Twitch, that's how it kind of feels, right? It's like, what the fuck? Where did this even come from? I was just watching a stream. What the fuck is happening? And so, I like failure a little bit more, personally, because it gives me a direction. It tells me, hey, what you're doing right now, it's not enough. Go a little harder. Give a little more. Or, perhaps, what you've done now, you know, I'm looking in myself and I'm like, what I did right now was all I had to give, or all I maybe wanted to give. So, let's move somewhere else where my energy is more valued, right? But I acknowledge those who feel like they've done everything, you know, and nothing's working. I understand, man. I understand. I was right in that same place, but I'm just letting you know, man. It's right at this point where we make our breakthrough. Okay, at least for me, that was when it happened. When I was like, well, I got nothing left in the tank, man. I give up. I don't know what to do. So fuck this world. I'm out. And that's when it all hit me. It was like, it's not just me losing, man. It's not just me. So take these qualities that you've had, that you've taken to every retail situation, and just do what your child wanted you to do this entire time, you know? And this is it, you know? This is, I mean, it's not like the full picture, right? We're still painting it. We're still crafting the story, but it's something like this. It's there. And I've had this idea for a while. I just needed to take action. And that's the thing with distraction, man. It makes you think that you're taking action. It makes you think that you're there, that you're doing the thing, but you're not doing the thing, right? You know? Because I'm really not doing too much different from what I was before, honestly. You know, I plant the mic down and I record every now and then, but you know, it's like talking to people and having friends and all this stuff. I always say, oh, friends are so terrible, but it's because I didn't make enough friends of virtue, because I wasn't virtuous with myself. I would hide The fact that I even had a YouTube channel, or did music, or even sometimes played video games with people. And luckily, once COVID hit, I was like, we're all stupid gamer gooners now. We have to be inside, so that really left me. I was very open and honest about my JRPG love. But yeah, man, 2015, 2016, we as JRPG fans, we as anime fans, just started to get really, really bad reps. So I don't want to call myself a gamer. I don't play video games anymore. Like the last good Pokemon game was Black and White. As you can clearly see, I love Black and White. It's my favorite Pokemon game. I'm not explaining anything other than that. Just know I love Black and White, right? I love Fire Emblem Three Houses, but it's just so sad how, I don't know, underappreciated we are. It's like so many games that were coming out right at that 2016 to like 2020 area. They all had advertisement that was like, if you don't like JRPGs, you'll love this game. This is for all of our un-RPG gamers. Fast-paced gameplay. And what are we doing here? Did you even care about why I play these games? You know, that's what I would do. I'd play a video game. Sometimes I would play a video game on mute and just listen to my internal world and just grind. And that is why, like I told you guys, I'm watching the Dragon Quest VIII speedrun. I don't know why. I just love seeing people just grind. And this is the problem with disciplined individuals. You think it's just for grinding. It's just, I have to just grind. But there's a point to your grind. The grind is it's like getting into that flow state and letting God work through you, okay? To me, this might sound dark, but you're here on the podcast for the sleep, for something to lull you to the great beyond, to the great unconsciousness. But to me, it's kind of like dying. Kind of like leaving your soul at the start of the work and allowing God to take you on a journey to wherever you need to go to finish it, and having no disregard for where your mind takes you, where your vessel goes, how good the work is, how bad. You just want to get it done. You just want to do it. And that's what I feel like I've always been chasing. It was so easy to chase in MMOs and RPGs and things like that, because it's like I'm doing something, but at the same time I'm not doing something. And it's so easy to do, but at the same time it's not easy to do. And basically these games, puzzle games and fighting games, have always been my favorite, because it's like I didn't really need much else. The fighting games help me communicate and connect with people. The puzzle games work my brain, and then I just flow. I just flow with an RPG. And of course, a lot of these stories really meant something to me. Quite a few things. I remember getting to the end of Tales of Symphonia the first time, and basically we used to go to church over in our neighboring town, about an hour away. And around that time, we stopped going because organized religion is just not in the best state. It never has been. And we started doing church at our house and in the extra trailer. And then eventually we even stopped doing. We didn't stop doing. They just stopped forcing us to go all together as a family. When we were basically around like high school or so. And I was just realizing you have to be careful what you believe in. You really do, because we all know intrinsically what is right to our souls. We do. I think so. There's no way for you to have gotten this far in this video, in this rare YouTube pool, if you didn't know what was right in your soul. In my opinion, I may be wrong about you, but I'm gonna take it out on a limb and just think that what's right and what's wrong. And so for the longest time, a religion just convinces us of all these factors, that could just debatably be interpreted in any way, and they give us this solid thing for it. And a lot of the times, guys, it's just for control. And life, if you know anything about life and love and relationships, it's not for control. Okay? And that's the main thing about discipline. Okay? Don't add more discipline. Don't be more strict. Don't beat yourself up. Life is not about control. Okay? It's not about that. It is about being a vessel for God to give you what you deserve. And we all deserve different things. Hopefully you're satisfied with what you get. But I can't commit you to be that. I can only be here to serve my purpose, you know? And whatever that is, we'll do it to the best of our abilities. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. I know you love the discipline, you love the distractions. Whatever we do, I will deliver it to you of the utmost quality I can give. Once again, appreciate you for stopping by the channel. This has been the MMO Sleep Playlist with our distracted discipline. I'll see you next time.